So this morning, I just want to spend a few minutes reflecting on decency, what it means to act in a decent way. Does it cost us anything? Are we challenged when we are facing situations and thinking, should we act decently? Should we not act decently? And by way of getting into the conversation, I want to share with everybody that Deanna and I binge watched a TV show that in a way was kind of silly, but I think in a way, believe it or not, also kind of profound. So the name of the TV show is Jury Duty. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm about to say. And if you haven't seen it, I promise I'm not going to spoil it, because at the very beginning of the first show, you find out that this is about a jury and a case that is tried. However, everyone, with one exception, is an actor. So one person thinks that he is on an actual jury and that he is trying an actual case. And the other members of the jury are actors, and the judge is an actor, and the defense and the prosecution are actors, the bailiff. Everybody in the show is acting. And what they need to do is they need to improvise, because they don't know what the one real person is actually going to say and do. That person is the variable. Now, the name of the person, and you find this all out in the first 5 minutes, so I haven't spoiled anything, except the first 5 minutes. So the name of the actual individual who thinks that he is in a real trial is Ron Gladden. And it's sort of like a name that Charles Dickens could have given, because he actually turns out to be a very decent human being. He is sort of like an every person, except that he's probably kinder than most people. And again, he makes choices to try to do what's right, to try to have the outcome of this trial be fair. He responds to people who are idiosyncratic, let's say, in ways that are incredibly generous. He tries to understand them, he tries to protect them, he tries to lift them up. So his real name is Gladden, but he kind of like helps other people to feel better. And it's a very beautiful, as we say in Hebrew, ki shemo kein hu. His name actually reflects his character. He knows that he's being filmed, but what he doesn't realize is that in a way he's being tested, because all of these bizarre things happen to him one after another. And this I will not spoil, but I will tell you that he really time and again rises to the occasion. He has a sense of humor. There are moments when he feels like things are strange. At one point he actually says, "What is this, a reality show?" But he doesn't actually realize the depth to which he is being surrounded by a reality show. Now, I put that out there because it's kind of an interesting thought experiment. Like, what if we were to discover that everybody around us was acting? And we were the only people who thought that we were in real life. So our loved ones were actors, and our friends were actors. And this was really just sort of like a big setup, if you will. And we were just walking through life and making certain decisions. So I want to take a step back and look at Moses, whom I've spoken about before. Moses is somebody who, unlike Ron Gladden on the TV show, does lose his cool, but very, very rarely. And if you consider all of the episodes, it is remarkable that he continues to advocate for his family, who were not exactly always so kind, for the people who did not exactly support his leadership. He will pray for the full recovery of his sister, even after she and their brother Aaron act in a way that is not so kind. He will say about the prophets, Umi itain kol am Adonai nevi'im, let everybody be a prophet, let everybody have God's ruach. He's not threatened. He continues to act in a way that is decent again and again and again. And in this morning's parasha, when truly his authority is questioned in the most profound and deep way, he will say, Ha'ish echad yecheta, one person sins and everyone has to suffer. He doesn't want there to be collateral damage. Even the people who were leaning against him, he doesn't want them to get harmed. Again and again and again, he is choosing to act with decency. So we are entering into the summer months. We will have perhaps some extra time to self-reflect. And, I want us to think about, okay, maybe everyone around us is not acting, although there are days when we might wonder. Let's assume that we are actually living a real life alongside everybody else. There are times when we might feel that acting decently is actually going to put us in some jeopardy. And God knows we should never put ourselves in jeopardy. But sometimes we will act with decency and we will be taken advantage of. And so does that mean we're never going to act decently again? We have to think about that. Sometimes we'll act decently and the person that we acted decently toward might not repay it. Well, does that mean we're not going to act decently ever again? Are we looking to get repaid every time we put goodness out into the world? These are just interesting questions for us to ask ourselves. Can we find the balance between appropriate self-reflection on the one hand, but not protecting ourselves so much that we fail to put our goodness, our decency out into the world? So I will say that at the end of the show, when he finds out what's going on, he says, oh my God, I can't believe that I didn't realize. I mean, I was just surrounded by so much bizarreness. I can't believe that I didn't fully put it together. But the one question that he asked of all of these actors once he realized, he said, it seemed like you had such a good time hanging out with me. Was that true? Or was that also an act? And one of the actors said, oh my God, we all fell in love with you. We loved hanging out with you. And in fact, after the show, it seems that many of them developed friendships and they continued to hang out together, which is very nice to see because this is an instance of basic derech eretz, basic decency, being rewarded with the decency that others show back. So the notion that we are in a way involved in some larger drama, this is not something that this show invented. Of course, the very famous soliloquy in Macbeth, which I'll quote, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and that is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sounds and fury, signifying nothing. So this was a moment of recognizing, oh my God, we're just acting, I mean, it's just this, it's showtime. That's what life is. It's showtime, And it is a kind of cynical view of what that might be, that it all signifies nothing. I can't leave us there. We're going to go back 1,000 years before that to a beautiful passage in Pirkei Avot. And this is what I want to leave us with. Yafeh sha'a achat b'tshuva u'ma'asim tovim ba'olam hazeh mikol chayei ha'olam haba. So the rabbis said, better one moment of teshuvah, of self-reflection, and ma'asim tovim, and good deeds in this world than the entire world to come. So they were saying, perhaps this is a phase. Perhaps there is something larger and grander in some respects that awaits us. But folks, do not underestimate the infinite value of the self-reflection that we do in this world and of the good things that we do in this world, of the decency that we can put out there, knowing that sometimes it's not going to come back exactly the way that we put it out. So I just ask us to think about the choices that we make, assuming this world is as real as it's going to get. Whatever our own name, can we act in ways that bring gladness to the people around us, and hope that the gladness will yield more gladness. Shabbat Shalom.